new restaurant, do you just think, well, I'm going to go to it and see what I think of it? Or are there reviewers that you trust that their palate is similar enough to yours that it might be useful?
So here's what's weird is that reviewers know, but I will go to restaurants of people that have been contestants on Top Chef.
Right.
Top Chef is my go-to. So TV show does influence the way that I choose to eat, and that Maria and I we really enjoy Top Chef, and we'll go to restaurants of Top Chef contestants if we like those Top Chef contestants. But yeah, Jonathan Gold is a really important review, and sometimes I will read other reviews if the LA Magazine usually does like a top 100 restaurants in Los Angeles, and I'll usually pick out some that I find are interesting and check those out.
Right.
Top 10s or something like that.
Has there ever been has there ever been a restaurant reviewed on Doughboys where you thought, that sounds so good or so compelling or so different that I'm going to go check it out I had never heard of it before Doughboys. Now I know of it, and I'm going to go seek it out. Because we should tell our audience they record very locally here.
Yeah.
So if they went to it and it wasn't a road episode, it means it's accessible by car to you and I.
I don't think they reviewed a place that I haven't been to. But what will happen is that I'll listen back to episodes. Like, I'll look at a map of all the restaurants. Because I work jobs where I work 3 to 4 months at a time.
Right.
And then I move to a new building. And so I'll look at all the restaurants in and around where I'm at. And I'll listen to Doughboys based on where I'm working. So I can be like, oh, yeah, they like Jack in the Box. Maybe I should give Jack in the Box a try. Also didn't like Jack in the Box. I have a hard time.
The Jack in the Box episode, you mean, or the restaurant?
No, the episode's great. The
By
restaurant's
the way,
not so good.
I'm putting quotes around restaurant. I'm not sure. I think of
Yeah.
Jack in the Box. It's a building that has some food in it of some sort.
Building
That's
with
about
sad
it.
humans that will provide you sustenance of a sort.
Well, they've really gone all in, Jack in the Box it is, on that kind of, hey, look, we're making this for drunks and people who
For real.
are high or just coming down off their high. That's what they're going for.
At 3 a.m. will satisfy your cravings.
Right. Yeah.
And that's sad, but it's true.
Well, Brandon, another success. We need to pause for a moment and appreciate that because we don't get a lot of them here. Anyone who listened to my intro this episode knows that Doug generally is not a fan of the podcast that we direct him to, but we've had a couple, and this is certainly one of them.
I think we're pulling a little bit more
You think
towards
so?
the
Maybe.
middle. I think we're actually still in the negatives.
Right.
Hey, listen, if we can get to 50%, I'll call that a fucking win.
Agreed. But let's make this official. Doug,
Yes.
Did this get you closer to, push you further away, or leave you unchanged in your quest to become, well, really, our quest to make you a podcast
It is definitely
person?
not my quest.
No, it's not at all. I corrected that, yes.
This 100% pushed me closer.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, this is a big question because even when we have a hi-fi worthy victory like this, you often answer this next question to the negative. So I'm going to ask it about this. Do you think you will seek out, realistically, honestly, and listen to other episodes of Doughboys?
This is, without a doubt, the first time I've thought I will have to check out another episode.
Yay!
Okay. Well, do us a favor. Let us know
If and when that happens.
If and when that happens, yes.
And I think that's part of the problem is because I'm 100% confident in saying if I decide to listen to a podcast for enjoyment, it will probably be this one. I'll pick another episode. I'm sure I will enjoy it. I just don't know that I've stepped into that realm of that's my choice for entertainment yet.
Come to
Right.
John and I with, like, if you're like, oh, I'd like to listen to these 3, let John and I be your curators. Because
Well, isn't that what this show is?
No, but
Well, yeah, but we only do it
credit.
2 episodes per show. Now we're done. Brandon and I have done what we need to do
Our duty
with
is-
Doughboys. However, should you return to this well
Oh, I
for
see.
Okay.
Okay.
quenching sip?
You're going to recommend some
Right, because
episodes
as
of
Brandon
this
pointed out,
podcast.
we did a pretty good job this time.
We want you to. I specifically, and I think this is true for John. I don't want to put words in his mouth. Want to make you continue to listen to this podcast and be a part of the listening crew.
Yeah.
And so I don't want you to go into your third one and it's Bobby Lee doing Taco Bell 3, which is a reviled episode.
I think I'm one of those people who, if I decided I was going to start listening to this podcast, I would start at the beginning.
Yeah, and actually, it's not a bad idea.
No, I think it's always a good idea with just about any podcast because if nothing else, you become familiar with things like their childhood friends
Yeah.
and basically
Growing
all the
crew.
incidental mythos and history of the podcasters. And I think it makes a difference when you
100%.
say, well, you said they feel like friends. That makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how much information I have about Nick Wiger and Mike Mitchell. It's probably concerning to most people
Right.
if they knew just how
To them.
Probably to them, because I've listened to every episode probably at least twice, or at least my favorite episodes at least twice, and I've listened to a lot of episodes multiple times because I enjoy them so much.
Right. Now, let me ask this. You're Brandon just hit his pop shield with his elbow.
Sorry.
He's apologizing to his pop shield and to you. No, I'm really curious about this because I'm not at all surprised you feel this way.
Yes.
But, well, how long have you been, would you say you've been listening to podcasts? When did your podcast listening start? What year, roughly?
I'd say 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, so not very long, really.
Well, how long have you been listening to podcasts?
I started with the first, and again, I admitted on an earlier show that I wasn't even sure what a podcast was.
Right.
When I started listening, it was, I believe, 2008, probably early, about January, February 2008.
You know, yeah. I think
And
actually it has been
so
that
a
long.
decade in my
Yeah,
career.
you know, because I was probably in college, and I graduated college in 2010, so it was probably around then. Because
Right.
I also didn't have any Apple products or the iTunes, and it was a
Okay.
long time that iTunes was the only way, as Doug knows,
Right.
the only way to get podcasts. And so
There's
that
a reason it's called a podcast.
there is
you
a
know?
reason
It was
because there's an
Wait.
on your
iPod.
Is
iPod,
it?
right?
Is that the reason?
Yes, it is. Yes,
We've
it
told
is,
you this
Doug.
before, haven't
No,
we?
Oh, I'm not sure we have. I don't think we
it's a
have.
podcast because it was on an
It's
iPod.
it's a portmanteau of iPod and broadcast, and yes, because now it would be a Samsung Galaxy Cast because there's so many different ways to listen to it.
Yeah.
But there really was a time in the very recent past
Yeah.
when that's how you listen to it.
Yeah,
It was
'cause
on your iPod.
Of
Yeah.
course, because Ricky Gervais made the podcast, and I remember listening to it
Right,
on
the
campus.
Podfather.
And so 100% I was listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais, the origin of this whole damn story.
Right.
So I
and I
thought-
probably turned you on to that within a year of me listening
exactly,
to it.
so-
It's been about 10 years. Okay, so this is my
There you go.
question. Is this the first time you have felt this way about podcasters? That you know a huge amount about them and that they're your friends?
Yes, because
Okay.
this is the first time where it felt like they're local, as we said.
Right.
They're not really celebrities. They're just
Okay.
guys, and they're into all the same things that I'm into.
Video
And
games.
The thing that's so weird is that Nick Wiger and I do have so many things that a kind of
You do.
confluence of experiences. And so, and the other thing is that every once in a while, Mike Mitchell talks about how like he wants to hang out with people more often, and I'm like, oh, he's talking to me, which makes me an insane person.
Right.
It's concerning for myself, but I really like.
That is a little weird.
I just want to like text him and be like, hey, bro, I'll play Mario Kart with you.
Sure.
I'll come over and just hang out with your cats and play Mario Kart. And I know that I'm not allowed to do that, but it really it's a fantasy that I have of like, I don't necessarily want to be on the show. I'd love to be on the show. And here's the thing I'll say, and we'll go around. I'd love to review AMC. I'd love to review because I think of it as a chain restaurant.
Right.
All the food options at AMC theaters, I think could be covered or constituted as a chain restaurant, and I think that would be
Okay.
my choice. I'd make them eat at the AMC.
I was not in my mind. It's candy in a glass case, popcorn instead. I didn't know there was anything
pretzels,
else.
hot dogs,
Sure.
They
Pizza.
have nachos, pizza.
Okay.
They have a little kitchen.
They got bars now too, right?
You know, they have bars now. Exactly.
Does AMC? I only thought ArcLight.
If you
okay.
go to the Burbank AMC,
Sure.
they have they call it Red Herring. I want to say is the
Well-
name of their bar, but anyway.
Wow.
Where would
Okay.
you-
Had no idea.
Where would you
The
guys want
AMC's
to?
by us have bars.
Really?
Yeah, the Fallbrook one. That one
Yeah.
has a bar now.
There you go.
Huh?
The
did
Edwards
not know
has a
that.
bar, which isn't an AMC, but I'm just saying it's like becoming very commonplace.
It's the ArcLight effect, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Where would you guys want to review if you had a places that you could review with the Doughboys?
I mean, that's a good question. I'm trying to think I feel
Chain restaurant.
Right. I feel that I was just thinking about this the other day. That's a spot that I really love that they've never gone to. I think The Habit would be
That
interesting.
would be great. It doesn't have to be a new place. I just like do AMC.
No,
If
I
it's a
don't.
place
I
that-
don't think The Habit is new at all. But I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
I think
not
that
new to the podcast. I'm saying you could do a double if you wanted to do Taco Bell 8.
Oh,
you could.
I mean, this one's so easy. Then it's one of their worst episodes, and it's one of the only. If we want to call it, I think it's fast casual, probably Veggie Grill. 100%. How about go back with someone who at least understands something that comes out of the cloaca of a chicken is not dairy, is not from a cow.
Learn cloaca
just starting there
from that episode.
Did you really?
Yeah, I didn't. Nick Wiger is the one who brought up that that a chicken. Doug, maybe you didn't know? All 3 holes have one job. No, backwards, right? 1 hole, 3 jobs.
There you go.
Okay,
Front butt,
I was
back butt,
very
and eggs.
concerned. I was going to say, I didn't know about 3 holes.
Yeah. And where would you review if you could go any place? Not Veggie Grill, not AMC.
I can't do a Veggie Grill 3.
You can't.
I do love that restaurant.
I want a new answer for
But
A lot of love for Veggie Grill today.
I am a big fan of Del Taco.
Okay.
And what constitutes a chain? How many restaurants does it have to be?
It has to be a chain. So 5, 10.
3? Could it be 3?
3's
Three's
pretty
not enough?
small.
Because I do love a restaurant called Presto Pasta, which is
Yes,
privately
Doug
owned.
does love that.
I think there's. I don't know if there's more than 3, maybe 4,
I mean, they just did do top
maybe
rounds.
5.
And Top Round has 3 locations,
Yeah.
but there's 1 in Kentucky, 1 in Texas, and 1 in California.
So if they could do that one, I would say hands down, I would love to do Presto Pasta if I couldn't choose something else.
I'll give you Presto Pasta because I think it is a counter service pasta place, right?
Yes, it is. You order at the counter, they bring it to your table, and it's to go. I mean, actually, many of them have a drive-through window, which is kind of unusual for an Italian restaurant, but amazingly great food.
It has like 8 locations.
All
I
right.
think this counts. Presto Pasta, you're in.
Awesome.
Okay,
All right,
so
boys, hook it up.
In 1 week, you'll be on the Doughboys talking about Presto
Wow.
Pasta.
So much prep work to
It's
do.
going to
in
be
a
great.
week.
I don't think you have to worry about that prep work, Doug. But I like that that's the part that concerns you. Doug's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be ready in a week.
We could do it, but I may be a little under.
No, I love,
valued.
Brendan, I love your confidence. Now, that is, we, of course, do not have a review show. So, at least a chain restaurant review show. So we will have to somehow force Brandon into Mike Mitchell's small apartment somewhere, and I think Los Feliz. Sorry, Mike Mitchell, if you didn't want the world knowing that. But I only know it because they constantly reference
mentioned
where
it
he lives.
so many times.
Right. Doug,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to set up a couple cameras because what we're going to be doing this evening, instead of throwing a game to you, and I did tease this a little bit earlier, is a challenge for Brandon and I. Now, our listeners are probably thinking, why not Doug? You're the guy in the title. Why will you not be engaging by way of explaining to our listeners? Why will you not be engaged in this challenge? And it'll tell our listeners what the challenge is about as well.
You will tell them. I'll just tell you, I'm not involved. It's a spicy food challenge.
It is.
So
and that's
one,
why
not-
you're not a spicy food
I'm
guy.
not. Well, I'll tell you right now. My favorite hot sauce is Taco Bell mild. I have it.
That's adorable.
Honestly, I have it. I have it in my. I have packets in my car.
Yeah.
At my desk at work.
You got one in your
at
pocket.
the house. I could seriously walk to my car and get you a Taco Bell.
You can't
packet
see it from
of
here,
mild.
Brandon. There's one behind his left ear.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is where I top out on.
Okay.
I mean, there's a couple salsas where it's really like a true kind of authentic salsa that I like. That's a little spicier, but I don't like spicy. I think the only one spicier than Taco Bell that I eat on a regular basis is Sharky's. I think it's their original, which
I
is still
love
extremely
Sharky's.
mild
Right.
for the rest of
I
the
don't
world.
think
But
I've
for me,
ever
that's
had
it.
their mild.
That is where I top out.
All right. Well, that's why you're not going to be taking part in this because while we have a little fun each week, forcing you to do stuff and asking you weird, awkward questions and putting you on the hot seat, we don't literally want to put you on the hot seat.
I don't
I appreciate
torture
that.
you.
As you know, I have let you. I mean, there's no talk about it even. Right off the bat, I went, you are recusing yourself from this. I actually tried to dissuade Brandon from doing it as well. But yes, Brandon, go ahead.
I'm only going to go as far as I can. I'm not going to
Okay,
kill
I think
myself.
I think that's wise. So I'll explain what we're doing. Now, we also got this from the Doughboys. I fully admit I was unaware of this company, Blazing Foods, or their Spicy Food Challenge, which is the Death Nut Challenge. But
a dumb name.
It's a very dumb name. But they did it on a recent episode. And, well, I mean, it nearly derailed the show at the end. They often will, they do a spot called hot or not. So is this food something we can go, wow, this has got some real heat to it, or is this kind of a dud? It's not very hot. And they do lots of little like snack or whack and a series of different kind of not food challenges, but little mini food reviews at the end.